Hey, this is Micah. I'm a WGA screenwriter, and I'm going to show you how you can organize all your ideas with Arc Studio's built-in Notes app. In this video, I'm going to start with an overview of how notes work, then go into the different types of notes, and then finally talk about how you can organize your notes in Arc Studio. Let's get into it. So you can access all your notes over here in the sidebar by clicking Notes, and you'll get a list of all of them. And to create a new note, all you have to do is click New Note, and it'll open up here on the right, and you can give it a title, whatever you want, like My Brilliant Ideas. And then, I can never type when I'm on camera, and then you write them down. This note is resizable, so you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller, and you can also make it a full screen note. This is great if you want to like free write, about something and just really focus in on your work. You can also use this drop down menu to open up your recently viewed notes. So if I go on like another note here, I can use this drop down to go back to this note, and you can use these arrows to go back and forth between the notes. You can also pin a note to the top of the notes list by clicking here and clicking Pin Note, and then you'll see it stuck to the top of your notes list. You can also do the same thing there, unpin note, and that's also how you delete notes. Another really cool feature is README notes. So you create one pretty similar, except you click this down arrow and do add a README note, and you can put a reminder in here. You can close it here. I have no notes open, but if you leave the script and then you come back to it, that note will automatically be open. So you can use this as reminders, maybe, where you left off, what you were planning to do next. Yeah, it's a really cool feature, README notes. If you create a note the way I showed you, you'll see this little note icon here, and that just kind of means it's a general note, like the kind of a thing you write in your notes app. But we also have other kind of notes, and you can tell them apart by the icons that they have here. You'll see all these different icons. So we have notes on beats. So this is for when you're outlining here on the board. Each beat you can create a note for. And then we also have beats on storylines, on characters, and on locations. You could filter for the kind of beat you want to see by clicking one of these at the top. So you just do note, and that'll show you your general notes. You can do beats. It'll show you all your notes on your beats, or your storyline notes, your location notes, and your character notes, or all your notes. So your storylines, characters, and locations are all what we call script elements, and I'll talk about those in a moment, but first I want to talk about beat notes. So to create a beat note, you just open a beat and click Open Note, and that'll open the note here on the side. And you'll see all the tags that you've tagged the beat with here by using the script element tags. And you'll also see the synopsis there of the note, and you can scroll through it if it's really long to see more. And this is a place where you can just write more about this section of your script, because a beat, represents one section of your script as you're outlining it and building your structure. So here you could put ideas for this section, dialogue you want to use here. You could work out story problems, really anything you want. And it'll say note on whatever the title of the beat is. So this beat is called Donnie and Toby Talk. So it's called Note on Donnie and Toby Talk. You can also go straight from this note to that part of the script by clicking here, View Beat in Script, and you'll go to it, which is pretty cool. You can access your beat notes a few different ways. One, directly from the beat like I showed you if you click Open Note. You'll also see it in your full notes list here, so you can access your notes here. But you can also see it in the content sidebar, so you see your whole structure here. And if you've created a note on a beat, you'll see a little note icon. So for instance, I created a beat on Donnie and Toby Talk. So right here, you'll see now there's that little icon. So if I closed it here, I could reopen it by clicking the note icon there. So let's talk about these other types of notes. We have the notes on storylines, characters, and locations. So those are all script elements. If you go over here into the sidebar here into elements, you'll see your storylines, your characters, and your locations. And you can write about your storylines here, but you'll also see the note icon for your storyline. So that's how you create a note on the storyline right there. And it'll open up for you. You can also have both open like that. And the same thing for the characters. You can create a note by clicking the note icon there. And yeah, and so this is exactly, you can write more about this character here. Dialogue you want them to use, like this is a fake script called Toby the Talking Tennis Ball, and he's got a catchphrase like ball to the wall, or I may be fuzzy on the outside, but inside I'm hollow, which is a very sad thing for a tennis ball to say. But again, you can write anything you want here, develop the character, things you want to remember about them, and you can do the same thing for the locations. You can write about the location and create a note for it if you want to write more about that location. If you look at this note here, note on Toby the Tennis Ball, you'll see that there is some other stuff. There's this blue text and this red text. And if they look like links, that's because they are links. You can kind of think of the notes in Arc Studio like pages in Wikipedia. It's like a private Wikipedia for your script. So you can actually navigate between the scripts by clicking on these links, because that's what they are, links. So he first comes to life at Wimbledon Stadium. I can hold down Command and click on that, and I'll go to the Wimbledon Stadium note. Same thing, I can go to the note about Freya Bjork, this other character. And then I can click on Toby the Tennis Ball to go back to that note. I can click on this storyline here to go to the note on the storyline. Then I can go to the note on this beat. Everything is interconnected. And at the bottom, you see backlinks. And these are all the other notes that link to this note. So this is the note on the beat Wimbledon final, and I can see these are the other beats that link to this note. So similarly, if I go to Toby the Tennis Ball note, there's 20 backlinks, which makes sense because he's the protagonist, even though he's a talking tennis ball. And I can see all the other beats where I've linked to this Toby the Tennis Ball note. So, for instance, I could say his enemy is, and I do 2 open brackets, and I can either choose a note that exists currently, or I could add a new one. But I'll just say this one, Freya Bjork, and now I've created that link. But I could also say, like, I wanted to create a new note. I could say something like, does he have a double open bracket love interest, and then create the note love interest. And now I can hold down Command and go to that note and write about, the potential love interest. So you can also use these links to organize your notes, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So let's say that this script right here is not about a tennis ball who comes to life, but it's like a fantasy like Lord of the Rings or, that kind of, or Game of Thrones kind of a thing. And I'm trying to keep track of, everything that's in this world, so I can create a new note, and I'm going to call this Mythical Creatures. And what I can do is sort of use this Mythical Creatures note almost as a folder or like a category note. So I can list all the mythical creatures in my show in this note and have each of the creatures in the list be a link to their own note. So I could do, dragons, create that note.
I could do, centaurs. Create that note. I could do goblins. I can do unicorns.
And basically now, Mythical Creatures, this note is like a folder containing links to all these other notes. So then I can click on Command and go to the dragons note and say, dragons like to eat and, unicorns, and link all these notes together. So I'm kind of creating a hierarchy of notes, like, mythical creatures, because I could create another note here and call it like world building. And in this one, I could say, let's say kingdoms. I don't know, maybe I'm making up languages. And of course, I could also put my mythical creatures. So I have my world building and then that hierarchy, and I go down to the mythical creatures, and then I go to the dragons. So you can use these links to organize everything into categories and hierarchies and kind of create whatever custom structure you want that makes sense for you. All right, that's how notes work in Arc Studio. I hope it helps you to be a little bit more organized as you're developing your script. Until next time, happy writing.